I stood at the back of the garden, beneath a string of fairy lights that blinked like distant stars, watching my younger sister Maya bask in the glow of her graduation celebration. Her friends surrounded her classmates clinked glasses in her honor, and my parents beamed from the head table, accepting every word of praise as if they'd handed her the law degree themselves. I took a sip of my flat soda and stayed quiet. 6 years ago, Maya came to me with tears in her eyes and dreams in her heart. I got in, she said, holding the acceptance letter from a top law school like it was a golden ticket. But there's no way Mom and Dad can pay for it. I already knew that. Our parents were good people, but frugal to a fault and emotionally stingy. They barely helped me get through my own degree in accounting, yet somehow they expected me to have it all figured out the moment I turned 22. At the time, I was working long hours at a consulting firm. Not rich, but stable. I'd finally moved out of our cramped family home into a tiny apartment downtown. I had a car loan and student debt of my own, but I knew Maya's potential. I'd helped raise her. When our parents were emotionally distant, I was the one who cheered her on at school plays, cooked her meals, and tucked her in when they were too busy. So I said yes. I paid for her entire tuition. I paid her rent. I covered her books. I even sent her monthly grocery money. I sacrificed vacations, skipped upgrades, worked late nights and weekends. I watched my youth bleed into spreadsheets and deadlines so she could chase her dream. And she did. Maya soared. She graduated near the top of her class, landed a stellar internship, and was already fielding offers from prestigious firms. I was proud. Tired, but proud. So when she invited me to her graduation party, I arrived with a lump in my throat and a knot of hope in my chest. Maybe she'd say thank you. Maybe she'd mention me in her speech, just a small acknowledgement of everything I did so she could be here. But as she stepped up to the microphone, smiling and radiant in her cap and gown, she glanced at our parents and said, "I just want to thank the people who made this all possible, Mom and Dad. You sacrificed so much. You gave so selflessly. You believed in me." The crowd applauded. My mother wiped a tear. My father raised his glass. I stood there stunned. No mention of me. Not even a look in my direction. I waited. Maybe she'd correct herself. Maybe this was just the intro. But no, she went on to talk about her professors, her best friends, her mentors. I wasn't even a footnote. I felt invisible. I stayed for an hour longer, long enough to hand her the small wrapped gift I'd bought, a vintage fountain pen engraved with her initials. She hugged me and said, "Thank you for coming," like I was just another guest. That night, I drove home in silence. No music, just the echo of applause still ringing in my ears. The next morning, I woke up to a message from her. "Hope you had fun. Sorry if I forgot to mention you, got nervous on stage. You know how grateful I am." I didn't respond. The truth was, it wasn't about being nervous. It was about who she chose to honor. And she chose them, two people who barely called her while she was away, who criticized her for wearing pants instead of traditional dresses, who never once visited her campus. But they were her parents, and in Maya's eyes, parents were supposed to be praised, whether they earned it or not. A week later, I made a decision. Quiet. Firm. Final. No more financial help. She texted me asking if I could help with the deposit on a new apartment near her firm in New York. I replied, "I'm proud of you, but you're on your own now. Time to stand on your own 2 feet." Her reply came an hour later. "Wait, what?" I didn't answer. Months passed. We still spoke, but not the same way. The distance between us grew quiet, but permanent. I wasn't cruel. I didn't demand repayment. But the emotional gap she had carved during her speech never closed. One day, I got a call from our parents. "You're being dramatic," my father said. "She's your sister." "She's an adult," I replied. "And I've done my part." My mother sighed. It was her moment. "You can't expect everything to be about you." I almost laughed. It wasn't about everything. It was about anything. Fast forward 2 years. Maya was now working at a prestigious law firm in Manhattan with a salary double mine. She sent the occasional birthday text and holiday card. Our relationship had cooled to the temperature of distant relatives. Until last month. I got a letter from a bank, a notification of a new account opened in my name. Confused, I called. Turns out Maya had secretly been depositing money into a savings account for over a year. $500 a month. $6,000 total. There was a note. For everything you gave me that I never acknowledged. I'm sorry I took you for granted. I just wanted to impress them, and in doing so, I hurt the person who actually believed in me. I know this doesn't fix it, but maybe it's a start. Love, Maya. I stared at that note for a long time. I didn't cry. I didn't cheer. I just breathed. 2 weeks later, we met at a coffee shop halfway between our cities. She looked nervous, holding that same worn-out handbag from her college days. I know I messed up, she said. And I'm not here to make excuses. I just want a chance to rebuild what we had. I nodded slowly. It's going to take time, but I appreciate that you're trying. We talked for hours. About childhood. About law. About everything in between. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like the forgotten sibling. Epilogue. Maya and I are close again, but in a new way. Not as dependent sisters, but as grown women who survived the weight of uneven expectations. I don't regret paying for her law school. I don't regret the long nights and missed trips. What I regret is not recognizing sooner that sometimes the ones we love the most will fail to love us the way we need. And that's okay, as long as we remember to love ourselves enough to step back when needed. Today, I still stand at the back of the room. But now Maya sees me there. And that makes all the difference.